opinion, the law was more important than blood. So just enjoy. I really enjoy. I like playing Annie Oakley as well. We didn't see her in this game, but Annie Oakley's a really good character.
She starts with a rifle. Well. She starts with no money and only one.
She starts with a rifle, which lets her immediately look at 2 cards that she's fighting against, which is incredible.
What do you think, Chris?
I actually like Billy the Kid a lot. His ability to just run around and be a jerk to all the players is extremely appealing to me.
My favorite character, and actually we just recorded a podcast yesterday. It'll be going up probably tomorrow, where I talk more about some of my favorite characters, but one of them being Stagecoach Mary, partially because she was my find, but also because she's just a really cool legend, and she has that really nice ability when you unlock it. But behind her, I'd say Kit Carson is my other favorite to play with.
Yeah, Kit's great.
And then we've got somebody asking us about how we determine which characters. Now, for this game, we determine that based off of a poll, but
normally you just you get 2 characters and you choose which one you want to play.
Yep, you draw 2, choose 1. But yeah, these 6 characters were determined by the poll that was on BGG yesterday. And then we just kind of randomly, we just kind of, here's the 6 characters, pick who you want to be out of these 6. So, and Kira, they're asking about what your strategy was.
Well, it's
lose
been a
lot
while.
of poker.
It's been a while since I've actually played with Mary. So I the last couple times I played with characters that lent themselves to the mining strategy. So I had to kind of like refresh my memory a little bit. And I decided that because I was in town, I wanted to start with poker.
One of your goals was poker.
And one of my goals was poker, but unfortunately I'm a terrible poker player, or at least my luck was poor in drawing cards. And so I had to either stick with it or decide to move on. I stuck with it for a minute, decided to move on. I did see that we have a question about, where did it go?
I think what's neat about
most difficult part about developing this game.
I think what's the most interesting thing about the fact that you played poker, every time you had a hand, you had a hand.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I have a pair. Oh, I have trips. Oh, you have trips too? Great. Yeah. Yours were better. So it wasn't like you were just, oh, I got rags, I got nothing. Here's a jack, and I'm hoping for a high card.
Yeah.
But you always had something, but yeah, you just got edged out. What was the hardest part of developing this game? So the hardest part of developing this game is when you have a game where players have this much agency and they're not sort of funneled down a path like a lot of conventional board games where you have a handful of options. In this, you can do so many things. It's challenging and fun. Challenging, interesting, fun to what? It's a funny question.
Hervé just replied and said the most difficult part of developing was me. We love you, Hervé.
No, so and that was a difficult part of the development because Hervé is actually French and I don't speak French, and thankfully Hervé has basically learned English over the last 8 months.
Yeah.
So there was it was interesting to have a language barrier and to have to work through that. Hervé spent an extremely long time on this game, and the thing that's remarkable is while a lot of the little bells and whistles in the game were refined in the development process, the game always had get 2 cards, $20 or a card and $10, and it always had 3 actions. Well, it didn't start off with the Marshall winner track. Remember, it used to have the.
Well, there were 2 sides of it.
Yes, there was the idea of being a good guy or a bad guy in the game. It was a little different. We decided to push that like really far. There was some cool stuff, and there was things like the stagecoach, but the stagecoach was really complicated, and I very strongly felt that the game has a lot of potential for more content. And so what I wanted to do was introduce this version of the game, let people enjoy it, and then do an expansion that really like blows people's minds.
Yeah.
And has all of these kind of things that people want to see, train robberies,
alternate maps has been a thing.
Alternate universes.
I've seen alternate maps with, taking the train from one map to the next map. I thought that was a great idea that I've seen. And there were people that, we've done suggestions for additional characters, for future expansions. And I saw some that were suggesting of doing what they referred to as a Tall Tales expansion, introducing characters like Pecos Bill and things like that, which I thought was interesting as well.
So we noticed that during the game, so that we were looking at the live comments, but we are aware there's a Q&A tab, so we're going to move over there now so we can answer some of those questions, and we'll show you it allows us to show them to you as we go. So the first question, we've answered this one in BGG, but we'll go ahead and address it very quickly. This is the solo variant.
I'll answer it.
Yep.
So the game doesn't have a solo variant, and I'll tell you, there's two main reasons. So as a developer, I am very strongly and passionately against including artificial player counts just to placate to an audience of people. It wouldn't do us any good to say, yes, there is a solo version, you guys get the game, and the solo version is a shadow of what the real game is. Do I think that we could make a solo version? Sure. Again, with future content, that's something that we can explore. As you just saw in this playthrough, the game is so interactive. It really lives and breathes in the players interacting with one another and how people's decisions affect your decisions. And I don't think that exists in a solo version. I don't think draw a card, this happens, run around the board and try to score as many points as you can in an allotted time it's not what Western Legends is, and it's not what we really want Western Legends to be. So while I understand that there is a solo audience, and I absolutely respect that audience, for this game, I really feel that like even getting the 2-player variant was challenging. I think we did a really good job of it, but solo, I don't know.
Sure.
Yep.
So for the sake of time, I'm going. There are some questions in here we've addressed several times in the FAQ and on BGG, so we encourage you to look there if we don't get to your question. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next question, which is for battles with poker cards between players, could ties be resolved by suits, as in spades, trumps, diamonds, etc.?
Nah, I think that's overcomplicated, personally. The thing that's beautiful about the system is that it's so simple, it's dead simple, and just having one single card like Stick 'em Up can change the outcome of a fight. I don't really want to have more edge case rules like, oh, hey, let's go and consult the, I crossed a river, what happens to my shoes chart in the game.
All right.
Exactly.
So moving on to the next one. I'm looking for clarification on how the sheriff activates and when the sheriff is allowed to move, Ryan asks.
Yep.
Go ahead, David.
All right, so the sheriff will only move whenever we have a wanted player in the game. Actually, that is the first space on the wanted track, as it says sheriff moves. After that, the sheriff activates one of two ways. We have story card resolution. It's at the bottom of most of the story cards. Whoever triggered the event will get to move the sheriff 3 to 6 spaces. Or we have the poker card manhunt, which people can play as one of the actions on their turn, allowing them to move the sheriff up to 3 spaces. And if they're a marshal, gain 1 LP.
Marshal or wanted player.
Marshal or wanted, I bet.
Yep.
And there's impetus to do that. I actually played a manhunt card to get a victory point, to get a legendary point, and then just
push the sheriff away.
To push the sheriff away so I could run into town and actually do a few things. That's a limitation for the wanted players, is that whole side of town where the sheriff kind of starts out can be risky.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question on your, Travis. How much is the Fistful of Extras expansion expected to be MSRP?
Currently, with what we have left, I think it's certainly between $30 to $40. We're not going to overprint it drastically, and I'm not just saying this to pander to the backers. We'll probably overprint it by about 1,000, 1,500 units to what the backers get. So if people love the game and it sells out, it's going to be tough because there's going to be a little bit of a delay in when we offer that material again. So
yeah. This is a great question. It says, many game companies are known for their game styles, components, licenses. What would you like Kolossal to be thought of as in a few years? The sandbox game company?
I think our name, part of why we chose this name, and I know a lot of people joke about the intentional misspelling of the K, which is for, it's supposed to stand for Kickstarter. We want to use crowdfunding platform, have a really strong relationship directly with our fans and consumers. I think the difference in Kolossal is that we are trying to we're approaching this more as like a startup. We're approaching this where we want to build meaningful and equitable relationships across the board. So a lot of and this is from my own experience with Action Phase, a company kind of grows around a product. So we made Heroes Wanted, and then Action Phase kind of burgeoned around that, right? We had some games that didn't do great. We had great games like Aeon's End and Kodama that did do great. And that's like the majority of the industry. The majority of the industry is it usually starts with someone having a game, they design a game, they did it themselves, and then a business sort of evolves around that. And we did it the opposite way, where we started a business that seeks out talent, that wants to work with talented people. I don't know, Kira, do you want to elaborate on this?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is something that I think we're all really passionate about. We are looking for great games that people on Kickstarter would be looking for. We are not going to pigeonhole ourselves in any particular genre or style. For that very reason, if you look at our lineup, you can see this on our website and on BGG. I had posted a blog about our 2018 that you can see there that will give you a quick lineup of the different games that we just have coming this year alone, and they definitely vary. We have a Euro game from Karen coming in the May timeframe. We've got
Consumption.
Yeah, it's called Consumption. Thank you, AJ. We've got
a bunch of small games from John Cloudis.
We've got a big game from John Cloudis.
Yeah.
We've got
No Dawn, which is a gigantic scenario-driven co-op game with tons of miniatures and
from JB and JB's other game that's about butterflies called Papillon, which is just a wonderful game. So no, we're not going to we're just not going to do that. We're going to just find great games and bring them to life.
So just to kind of bookend Kira's comment, I think that the difference in what you're going to see from Kolossal is we really want to try to do things better, as best as we can, on every level, every single level. So I know to some it seems like we're being highly ambitious, but here you see we've got a team full of full-time people, and we're all really in it to win it. We're all working very hard to produce these games, to test these games, to develop these games, to have great graphic design, great illustrations, and like I said, we want people to want to come back and work with us time and time again because of how we do business, how we make games.
I believe that mostly, I like that new comment. Kolossal's going to be the, never would have thought of that company. Got it. That's cute. Thank you. Travis Action Phase Games founded that with Nick Little. I worked with them part-time back then. That's how I got involved, as did Chris here. And Mark and AJ are new to our team, but not new to the industry. And so we just have a really great, and then we just hired Kevin, who had to leave a little early. He had to pick up his son from school today. But we're a growing team, and we're very passionate. And I think you guys will see that come through in our campaigns and our games. All right. Well, that concludes the majority of the questions that came through. For anything we didn't answer, please feel free to ask us in the comments, and also on Board Game Geek, whatever makes the most sense to you guys. And if very likely we've already answered the question if we didn't answer it on here, so please be sure to check out the FAQ. The video will be live for 48 hours on this page.
Yeah, Dwight, you'll have it. It'll be here on the Kickstarter campaign page for the next 48 hours. And they're going to give us a link on the back end that we can share on social media to even make it available longer than 48 hours if we want to, so, which we probably will. I don't know why we wouldn't. So it'll be out there.
Hey, if you guys like this, we might be able to try and arrange another play before the end. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe we could do, I think we've had a lot of people asking about the 2-player.
Yeah,
so
we could do a 2-player with the
live.
Man in Black just to see how that goes. And I mean, it's possible final 48 hours. I mean, I don't have a problem even just streaming just a straight Q&A session if people want to do that at the end of toward the end.
I see. Was Red Dead Redemption an inspiration? Absolutely, it was an inspiration. Hervé said, and I've had a lot of people, reviewers say this is Red Dead Redemption in a box.
Red Dead Cardboard.
Red Dead Cardboard. But I definitely appreciate everybody stopping in there, and definitely if you have, like Kira said, if you have any questions that didn't get answered, check the FAQ first. If the answer's not there, pop it in the comments or shoot it over to us on BGG. We're happy to answer anything.
Yeah, and honestly, it's awesome people taking the time out of their busy lives to sit and watch us play a game from an awkward angle and make a bunch of inside jokes. But seriously, we appreciate it. We appreciate your support. We appreciate the fact that you guys care so much about the game, your opinions, your feedback. We really are trying, Mark and I are trying our very best to answer every single question. The whole team, seriously, people are what make the gaming industry what it is. And so you should pat yourselves on the back. And we hope to, this is the first of many games that we make that you guys get to enjoy.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.